trying to solve is pavements are dangerous when it's icy. It's quite a simple problem, really. Linked to that, the state can't really afford to grit it. There's time constraints, there's all kinds of logistical nightmares about that. But on the plus side, people can take responsibility for shoveling their own pavements. So we decided to go with a project called, which we've called Snow Go. See what we did there? Works on many levels, and what it is basically a website, which the outline of which I've drawn bits on that wall, which literally nobody can see. So try not to rip the paint off, and move it over here. There we go. So it's a kind of information / social / kind of product sharing kind of a website. On here you have a map of the UK showing you where the snow is and where the kind of hotspots or problems are, plus showing you where and how people are doing at actually keeping things clear. You've got an element of kind of competition, so like where's the quickest area, that's like who's managed to get their path shoveled quickest and that kind of stuff. So you might have a kind of like the fastest clear sort of area. And then also things like the best snowman, because everybody knows that you've got to build a snowman when it's snowing, and if you actually use the snow from your path to make a snowman, then that's like double whammy. So we have some kind of competition type elements here. Lots of information about keeping warm and your rights and responsibilities, like are you legally obliged to shovel the snow, yes or no, that kind of thing. And some information about some kind of real-time stuff about where the gritters are at the moment, especially for kind of big A roads, which we assume the council will still have to maintain some kind of responsibility for. And then the other kind of main component of the site is like product, because obviously if people are going to do their own shoveling and their own gritting, then they're going to need some equipment to do that with. So you can buy stuff from the site, so there'll be links to products that are available in shops near you. You can also kind of look at what the best products are, so you sort of review them, a bit kind of Amazon style sort of thing. But then also we'd have an area where you can either share and exchange equipment for the snow, or even a kind of a cooperative style funding. So if everybody chucks in a £5, our street will buy a grit bin which we'll keep at the end of our road. Or maybe somewhere where people can pledge, like, yes, I'll pay this much, and then that can be used to kind of go to providers of that equipment and say, this many people are willing to pay £5 for your thing, can you offer it at a reduced price? So all kinds of like cool little price negotiation type stuff can happen on here as well. And then you've got kind of like general social sort of element, kind of a bit of chat, people saying how much they love the snow and how they think it's brilliant, other people saying bah humbug. A feed from the UK Snow website so you can keep up real time with where the snow's happening. And our own hashtag, which would be about where the snow is clear, so you could compare and contrast how much snow there is in an area versus how clear it is. So that's the kind of general sort of socially, information-y, product-y kind of website that we've planned. So, what? Certainly.
And what if I wanted someone to help me clear my path? Is there a way of kind of getting my neighbours, involved with the fact that I can...
Yeah, I expect you could probably put something on here which says, I live in this vicinity, can somebody kind of give me a shout to sort it out? But we did consider making this a kind of, matching type of a situation, but actually we felt that might be borderline a bit patronising, like, because Warren was saying that his 80-year-old neighbour was out clearing his snow well before Warren had even got up on that particular snow day. So, like, actually, it's kind of a bit of a kind of strange assumption. But also, we were thinking that probably, actually, people will do some of that stuff themselves, and they don't really need us to kind of poke them into it. I mean, there might be areas where people will, like, can put out a plea and say, help me, I can't get out of my house or whatever. But on the whole, I think we want to keep it fairly light touch and not sort of make people have to feel kind of responsible for each other. Is that right, team? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, but we were definitely hoping it would emerge from this, and there would be a bit of collective activity, and people would naturally look out for each other.
So on to kind of like how we'll sustain the idea. So there's a few kind of like funding elements in terms of the equipment itself. So we assume that that the council might have some, since they'll be saving loads of money on the gritting they have to do, and they'll have plenty of spare cash, they might want to actually help people buy those gritting bins. So a bit like with the compost bins at the moment, often councils offer those at a subsidy, so we would be looking at a similar kind of thing with gritting bins for each street. And maybe some kind of deal whereby if the street provides the bin, then the council provides the grit, that kind of thing. So it's not all on the council to do that, but but equally people have some responsibility. And some of the kind of cooperative stuff in terms of funding that we talked about. In terms of like long-term sustainability of the site, we kind of thought, well, it doesn't actually need that much, and we don't really want to keep something going if it doesn't need to be kept going, because we've all got enough to do. So in a way, like if it only is up and running for a couple of days a year, then that's fine, because that's all it's needed for. However, if this kind of model proves to be something successful, then we're thinking maybe we could spin it off into other areas of kind of like neighbourliness and streetness. So perhaps making cooperating as a street to keep your street clean, or perhaps cooperating as a street to buy some kind of resources, maybe energy or other kind of things for your street as a whole. So there's lots of other ways in which this type of infrastructure could be applied to neighbourhoods. And if it proves successful, we could experiment with some of that in the longer term. And finally, in terms of adoption and how we'll get people to use this, we're thinking plenty of kind of social marketing type campaigns. The competitive element we think would be quite compelling for people and get people involved. There's already some activity on things like UK Snow and Facebook as well, so we'd capitalise on some of that and start to draw some of that content in and kind of make it more two-way. We thought about maybe alerts or texts, so once snow starts to fall and people are starting to talk about it online, the site could send text alerts to people who've signed up for them saying, hey, it's snowing in your area, have you thought about getting out there and getting busy with a shovel? And we also, of course, as with all of these things, we would work with community groups and the local and national press to kind of make a big deal out of this and try and get some kind of adoption generated at a kind of grassroots level as well. And I think that's it. Have I missed anything?